Greetings, brothers. Quick video tonight because Andrew had to bail on me. I think he was too scared to play with me with his iron hands, but actually he had prior engagement, unfortunately. So no live game tonight, but I've been working on a new tactics video basing all the winners and losers from the new balance data slate, which will be coming out Friday. So for just now, we're just going to jump in quickly because I got a leaked copy of Arks of Omen shared with me. And yeah, secondaries. Let's start with Oath of Moment. Oath of Moment is back, and it is back in a big way, and that's probably the most exciting thing that we want to talk to you about here. If you do get some value out of today's video, please remember to leave a like. I do really appreciate it. So, at the end of the battle round, score the victory points for achieving the following 3 oaths. And this is in no mercy, no respite. So you score 1 victory point if any vehicle, character, or monster was destroyed by an Adeptus to starter's unit. So basically, you kill anything, really, a vehicle, character, or monster. You just aim to kill one of them a turn. That's going to give you 1 point. Score 1 victory point, provided no Adeptus to start unit from your army failed morale or fell back. That was always good for like 4 points pretty much every game. It does hem you in a little bit in that, like, you kind of never want to fall back if you pick Oath of Moments. Yes, I mean, that is the one disadvantage from it. But the big change, and this is the huge change, Oath of Duty. Score 2 victory points if Adeptus starter unit from your army is wholly within the center of the battlefield. They changed this so that you needed to either be core, which ruled out things like centurions and vehicles, and or a character, which obviously meant you had to have your character sat in the middle of the board. So this change is pretty great. This steps Oath of Moment back to a point where, like, I think, and I could be wrong here, but it used to be when you took Oath of Moment, you pretty much scored 10 to 15 in every single game without thinking about it, right? Because let's say in 3 turns you kill a character, vehicle, or monster, that's 3. Let's say you fall back or fail morale once, that's 7. Well, 4 plus the 3, so 7. And then let's say you can put something in the middle of the map, let's say 3 times. So just over half the game, that would be 6. That would be 13 points without even really trying. If you're smart, you know, you kill something every turn, if you get into the middle for a few extra rounds. The only disadvantage was I really hoped that they changed the Oath of Duty to be the end of the turn rather than the battle round. This does still favour going second, essentially. Like, it's a big advantage to going second. And I kind of lost a tournament because I went second and went first, and the enemy I played went second. And going second means that you can always mop up what's in the middle and always score those Oath of Duty points. Whereas if the other player mops you up, they don't score anything, and then you get the chance to mop them up. So I really felt like Oath of Duty would have been better if it was at the end of the turn, but I think Oath of Moment is back. I think it's probably going to be a very solid pick. I think we're going to see a lot of Marine players take it. If there is an objective in the center of the map, then that's going to synergize crazily with Shock Tactics, obviously. Shock Tactics being the one where you score 4 victory points if you control an objective that was previously controlled by an enemy with an Adeptus Stars unit. So those 2 objectives are very decent. Shock Tactics, I think, is probably good for about 12 to 15 most games, and I think Oath of the Moment is probably good for 10 to 15 most games. So that gives us Space Marines 2 very decent secondaries. Unfortunately, Codex Warfare is still not great, and I recommend not trying to score it as a Blood Angels player. Historically, Codex Warfare was one of the worst scoring secondaries. And I made a spreadsheet or a flowchart with basically advice on how you score secondaries and what way you should tackle or how you should pick your secondaries. So I plan to update the flowchart once we know, once we dive into all the secondaries. But today I just wanted to talk to you about the Adeptus Astartes secondaries and the one Blood Angel secondary that has remained, and that is, unfortunately, I think, Battlefield Supremacy Relentless Assault. I would kind of hoped that it was going to be another one because I do think Shock Tactics and Relentless Assault are very interchangeable. They both score 4 victory points a turn. Shock Tactics is something you have to do anyway, and that, like, if you're not taking objectives from your opponent, how are you winning the game? So in some ways, Relentless Assault was probably arguably not the greatest, but I mean, we could have had worse. We could have had Death from Above, or we could have had Blade of Sanguinius. I'd probably like to see Fury of the Lost stay. That is a very themed secondary around the Death Company army. But that's what we've got. So the four Adeptus Astartes secondaries that we will have access to is Codex Warfare, which I think is brilliant now for probably a chapter that wants to stay in Devastator Doctrine. Every time something is destroyed by a heavy grenade, it's going to be 2 points. I don't know why Devastator gives 2 points compared to Assault and Tactical only giving 1. Considering Space Marines don't have a good win rate, it seems a bit backwards, but that's what it is. Codex Warfare, Oath of Moment is back. Shock Tactics and Relentless Assault are good, so I guess if you think we've got our No Mercy, we've got our Battlefield Supremacy, what do we need to pick from? Then our options are going to be Shadow Operations, Warpcraft, Purge the Enemy. And we're going to have to do one from there because Codex Warfare really isn't viable. So sometimes you come into armies that are not good for Assassinate and bring it down. Okay, we can deal with that. Sometimes you come into armies or maps that are not good for Raise the Banners. I don't like having to spec units out to do data, but I can understand that data, if you do have the right units and if you can do it cheaply, then it can be viable. And I mean, that might be okay. It's not my favourite to do Nephilim data, so maybe Warcraft gets a little bit more oomph. It's hard to say. So this new chapter approved season is going to be very, very difficult, I think, for Blood Angels. It is, right? We only have 2 good secondaries, but we do not have a 3rd secondary. So if the enemy has built their army smartly and there's nothing to pick them against, and the map doesn't fit like banners, then it is going to be difficult to pick 3 secondaries that are going to score consistently high. Combined with the survivability loss that we've taken, which I have the new video coming out on Friday telling you the big winners and losers from the new Space Marine Point data slate. So, thank you for watching. Leave me your comment down below. Is there something I'm missing? I had this flowchart that I had before. Let me throw my flowchart up on the screen just for 2 seconds to show you what I'm talking about. So this is a flowchart that I had built before, which was basically like looking at the different categories and working out. And this was taken from tournament data. So we got all the data for like how many points on average these secondaries score. So, but this was done before Shock Tactics got its buff. So, Oath of Moment, Relentless Assault in the green category. It kind of says now that like there may be a serious question mark around like we should be taking a Psyker if we want, or maybe even 2 Psykers, if we want to significantly increase our scoring chance, because Psychic Interrogation and Warp Ritual are both reasonably decent scoring. Otherwise, you're stuck with really Bring It Down or Assassinate. And Banners and Nephilim are 2 of the worst scoring ones. You can see them down the bottom here in the list. I'll just switch the camera over for 2 seconds back here. Shock Tactics is typically worse for Relentless Assault, but it requires less units to be like thrown in and basically idle in the enemy deployment zone. And Engage on All Fronts has been poor ever since they made the change. I actually didn't check if Engage on All Fronts has been rolled back. Let's have a look. I will be doing a full breakdown on all these once I actually get the book in front of me, but for now I just wanted to talk about Oath of Moment. Engage on All Fronts, yeah, so it's nothing. So Engage on All Fronts is probably a little bit stronger than it was, but still not a great scorer. Okay, so what are you guys thinking? What's going to be the 3rd secondary pick? Like, what are we going to have to pick for secondary? The only... Yeah, I really dislike staying in Devastator Doctrine for multiple turns as a Blood Angel, because I think that our strength is when we hit that turn 3 power spike with Assault Doctrine. We need that as soon as possible. I'd be happier to get into Assault Doctrine earlier and then score 1 victory point. Yeah, I mean, if we could get into Assault Doctrine, like in turn 1, and then it was just 1 VP for everything we kill in Assault Doctrine, I'd probably be okay with it. I mean, it's not my favourite, but yeah. Okay, it's going to be a tough season, boys. Let us know comments below. Thank you ever so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.